Between 2011 and 2012, nearly 5 crore Indians were pushed below the poverty line due to medical expenses alone. Out of these, 8 crore people became poor primarily because of expensive medicines. Medical costs include hospitalization, surgery, diagnostics, and transplants. But among all these, medicines account for the largest share of out of pocket spending. On average, every Indian spends about Rs 2,500 per year on healthcare. Cumulatively, India spends nearly Rs 3 lakh crore annually on medical expenses, and 67% of this amount is spent only on medicines. Here is the crucial part. This medicine expenditure can be reduced by 80 to 85% simply by shifting from branded medicines to generic medicines. To understand how powerful this change can be, let's look at an international comparison. What the United States does differently. In the United States, if a doctor prescribes 10 medicines, 9 are generic, only 1 is branded. Although generic medicines make up nearly 90% of prescriptions, they contribute to just 18% of the total medical bill value. The remaining 10% branded medicines account for around 80% of the bill. Because of this model, American patients saved approximately $373 billion in 2021 alone. Now comes the irony. India produces nearly 20% of the world's generic medicines, yet only about 1% of medicines consumed in India are true affordable generics. Why does this happen? Understanding types of medicines. Medicines are broadly divided into branded and generic. Branded medicines fall into two categories: one, branded patented medicines; two, branded generic medicines. When a pharmaceutical company invents a new drug after years of research, it files a patent. For the patent period, usually 20 years in India, only that company can manufacture and sell the drug under its brand name. These are branded patented medicines and they are the most expensive. Once the patent expires, other companies can manufacture the same drug and sell it under their own brand names. These are known as branded generic medicines. In India, nearly 90% of so called generic medicines are actually branded generics. Then come true generic medicines. These do not promote any brand name, only the chemical compound or salt is mentioned. These are the cheapest and most affordable medicines. A familiar example: consider Dolo 650. Brand name Dolo 650. Manufacturer Microlabs. Salt composition paracetamol. Dolo 650 is not a unique drug, it is simply paracetamol sold under a brand name. If your illness requires paracetamol, any medicine containing paracetamol will work, not just Dolo 650. However, doctors usually prescribe the brand name, not the salt. Why are branded medicines so expensive? Developing a new drug is extremely complex. Pharma companies spend 15-30% of their revenue on research and development, 12 to 13 years on trials and approvals. Only 15% of drugs successfully reach the market. In addition to research, pharma companies spend heavily on marketing. In 2021 alone, big pharma companies spent around 3.9 billion on TV advertisements. These costs are ultimately recovered by selling expensive branded medicines. The doctor pharma pharmacist nexus. Medical representatives or MRs regularly visit doctors to promote specific brands. In many cases, incentives are offered: commissions, gifts, foreign trips, and other benefits. In return, doctors often prescribe medicines from specific companies. That is why patients frequently notice that the prescribed medicines are available only at medical stores near the doctor's clinic. Pharmacists also play a role. Even when two medicines contain the same salt, profit margins vary widely. Naturally, pharmacists tend to sell medicines that offer higher margins. Government efforts and concerns. In 2022, it was made mandatory for doctors to prescribe generic medicines. Recently, the National Medical Commission warned that non compliance could lead to penalties or even license suspension. Doctors have raised concerns about quality control, availability, risk of pharmacists substituting inappropriate combinations. Past scandals involving substandard medicines have also affected public trust. However, the reality is that most generic medicines produced in India are safe and high quality, which is why they are exported globally. What can patients do? This is not about activism, it is about awareness. Ask doctors about generic options. Check the salt composition, compare prices, look for Jan Aushadhi stores. Small awareness at the individual level can bring system level change. Healthcare should heal people, not push them into poverty.